Well, today we are talking about saints, sinners, redemption, and a miracle in East Texas. Actors and spouses Kevin and Sam Sorbo join us today to talk about a true story and a miracle you probably have never heard about. Welcome to the Moms for America podcast. Each week, special guests tackle the issues facing the moms of America today. Discussions include personal stories and advice on how moms can build a strong foundation of faith, family, and freedom in their homes and country. Hi, moms. I'm Debbie Carlitis, your host, and thank you for joining us again today. Right here at the top of the show, we always want to invite all of our moms to like, subscribe, and share our podcast. This is going to be another podcast that you're going to want to share with your mama friends. So we do appreciate you doing that. We keep getting censored. So this is so important that we all kind of create this community with great materials and information. Also, on the top of the show, I invite all of our moms to always join us here at Moms for America. We are moms uniting all across the country to fight for our faith, family, freedom, and the Constitution. I say this to everyone. We are the ultimate support group. Mamas joining together to help inspire, educate, and empower each other as we raise the next generation of patriots. So go ahead, please check us out at momsforamerica.us. Also, if you have any feedback or questions or guest suggestions, whatever it may be, would you email me at podcast@momsforamerica.net? I would love to hear from you. Well, already on to today's program. Super excited. I just absolutely love this couple. Let me tell you a little bit about them. Kevin Sorbo shot to international fame as the lead in the series Hercules, The Legendary Journeys. It was on that set where he met his lovely wife, Sam. Once they had children, Sam then stepped back from her film career to immerse herself in the home education of their 3 children. Her mission now is to help parents emancipate their children from the modern school system. Sam hosts the nationally syndicated podcast, The Sam Sorbo Show. Kevin and Sam are Hollywood stars. I know you know them, and they're amazing because they stand out for their transparency about their Christian faith. They are appearing together in the film Miracle in East Texas, which is going to be one of the topics we talk about today. All right, the Sorbos are in the house at the Moms for America podcast. Welcome, Kevin. Welcome, Sam.
Thank you so much for having us.
Thank you. It's good to be here. Thank you.
Lots of energy here. You know, we do love the Sorbos at Moms for America.
And we love Moms for America.
That's right.
So it's mutual.
Thank you. Hey, real quick, we always ask everybody about the family, how the kids are doing, what's up in your piece of the world. How's the family?
Did a little trip recently.
I just brought my daughter. This is called homeschooling on steroids. We went to Paris for a month and then did a week in Italy on the way back. And so we just got back yesterday, day before yesterday.
Yeah.
And
nice.
The boys are doing great. And Kevin's been working his butt off promoting the movie.
I've the whole time they were gone, I've only been home and to see my boys 3 days the last 4.5 weeks. I've been nonstop doing on my new book and obviously the new movie as well. So it's been pretty crazy.
And you know what's amazing is the kids actually miss us when we're gone.
Well, that's a good sign. Everybody gets along better then, right? We kind of go off, get back. I love it. Well, good. Congratulations. What a great family you have. You really do. You're a great model for the moms and the dads that are watching. So I love your family. Sam, you are on our board of directors at Moms for America. I would just want to say that in the beginning and say thank you for your support. You are really valued in many ways.
I may know Kimberly longer than you do. I don't think it's true, but I've known Kimberly for a very long time, and I lend my support willingly and gratefully.
You do. Thank you so much. All right, I want to get to the movie real quickly here, but I want to just talk a little bit about you as a couple. You really have a beautiful testimony, and can we just have you both share just a little bit about your faith journey before we get into this family movie, because it's who you are. Out of who you are is what this movie is. It buds out of you. So I'd love to just hear a little bit about your faith journey and how you got together.
Well, you want to go our individual faith journeys and how we met?
Yes.
I'll let Sam start because we got completely different journeys.
I was raised in an atheist household by a woman who claims to be Jewish, but she's not a believer, and we celebrated Christmas and Easter instead of the Jewish holidays. So that's my. So then when I left college, I went on a search for meaning in the universe. I discovered that there was order in the universe. That led me to a decision that God must exist. And then I went looking for God and found him at a church. So I am an evangelical Christian.
Yes.
There you go.
And then, Mr. Kevin.
Then, for me, I grew up in Minnesota, typical Norwegian boy. I grew up in a Lutheran church, St. John's Lutheran Church. My parents are very, very strong Christians. It was, Sunday school. It was, in fact, our church got so big that as I got older in junior high school and high school, it was Wednesday night was my Sunday school because didn't have enough room for everybody. And it was just, it's always been with me. I never really lost my faith. I always believed, I always prayed. I always, I don't know. We just had completely different journeys, I guess. My parents are wonderful people. My father, actually, it would have been his 95th birthday today. He passed 11 years ago today. And on her birthday.
Yeah,
my dad
today.
died on October 18th, 8 days after his birthday, on her birthday. So it was just kind of weird. But my dad was my buddy. He's my golf buddy. He was the best man at our wedding. And how we actually met in the set of Hercules. Sam can tell that story. But once we really started dating, she introduced me to her church that she was going to out in not Pasadena, it was Eagle Rock, just past Pasadena. And he ended up being the one who married us, Pastor Mark, and he was awesome. She found a great church. It was fantastic.
Well, I love this because you have that book, True Faith. And when you build your foundation, your family on true faith, God does miracles and he blesses. It doesn't mean it's not challenging. Doesn't mean that there's hurdles not to climb, but you guys have really lived out your faith personally and in Hollywood. And that, here you meet on the movie set. But by the way, did you know that Sam was going to be your wife? Like, was this an instant, hey, that's going to be my wife, this is going to be my husband, or how'd that work out? Just a little bit of love story.
I am flirtatious by nature, but when I met Sam, she came down at the end of season 4, near the end of season 4 in Hercules. I lived down there for 7 years in New Zealand filming my series, and she came down and played a princess. And I was moving in on her before we shot the very first scene. I was making my move.
Wow. Oh, and did you know this, Sam?
Yeah, I mean, we hit it off immediately, and then I was trying to figure out what was wrong with him because he was so great, he was so perfect.
Perfect, but go ahead.
And then 8 months, so we got engaged within 6 months, and then
and only physically seeing each other.
Yeah, not very
2 months,
very much.
2.5 weeks at that time.
Because he was in New Zealand, I was in LA, he was traveling. Anyway, 8 months into our engagement, he had severe health crisis. He had
what a story.
Ended up in the hospital.
Yeah.
And that is when we figured it out. Or I should say I figured it out, that it's worth the sacrifice, but you have to find where the sacrifice is to be made. And when you sacrifice one thing for a better thing, it's a good deal. And a lot of times we refuse to sacrifice sort of for anything because we think we can have it all, but you can't. Right. Because you're always going to be sacrificing something for the other thing. And so you have to figure out what is the worthwhile sacrifice for the better thing. And I figured it out. And when we got married, we made a pact that we wouldn't spend more than 2 weeks apart.
She broke the pact. After
I love
25
that.
years of marriage,
after 25 years,
she broke the pact. She was gone 5 weeks.
I went to Europe. I'm like,
oh,
what?
okay.
He was supposed to come over, but he couldn't. He's too busy.
Got just.
All right. Well, then that doesn't count. That doesn't count then.
I wanted to get over there, but I lived in Europe for 3.5 years after college, so I got to see all those places and she was over there roughly the same time I was.
Yeah,
off and on. But I got to say, when she did the episode and we started dating down there in New Zealand during those 2.5 weeks she was down there, and then she went back to go. She was on the Chicago Hope show. That's the same year ER had come out. You guys were battling each other. And I went over to Bratislava, Slovakia to shoot a movie for Universal Studios. And Universal called me up because they also own the Hercules series. They said, hey, we really like the Sam Jenkins you worked with, but we got a 3-show arc. And I know, and they were being good to me, saying, did you guys get along at all? Like,
she's a love interest.
Yeah, she was going to be a love interest.
Okay, to bring back.
So they want to make sure I was comfortable, because three episodes is about 2 months down there.
Yeah.
And so I said, yeah, she was fine. I thought she was pretty good. I called her up right away and I said, hey, they're going to call you to come down.
You're trying to play it down a little bit, but you were like, yes.
Well, I'm a guy. You got to be cool about it. But that 2 months definitely solidified it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So that
is this one the series of strokes where, where does that?
No, that was before.
That happened.
We got engaged. Yeah. So I came down, I did the 3-episode arc. Then we got engaged. Then I traveled back and forth a bit and we tried to work things out. And I was really kind of at my wit's end. I was trying to figure out what it was going to look like to be married to somebody who lived in New Zealand, but my career was in LA. And going back and forth, and what if I flew down to New Zealand, but then I got the call back, so I had to fly back again to do the call back, like how that was all going to work. And then he ended up in intensive care, and I booked the best job you could possibly think of for that time. It was a short shoot for a lot of money, and I said to him, "Do you want me not?" And it was shot in New York, first class.
It was an ice cream commercial.
It was an ice cream commercial. It was because God doesn't do things in small ways. No. He gave me the real carrot. Like, do you really want this career, Sam?
What do you mean? God didn't promise an easy life?
And I said,
I had no idea.
And I said to Kevin, do you want me not to go? Which actually was a little bit cruel to him, because then he had to admit that he needed me, which he did. And he said, yes, I want you not to go. And I sat down and I looked up to heaven and I said, oh, so that's the compromise. I'll sacrifice my career for the love of my life, for my family, for my kids, for the rest of my life. And it's like, okay, done. That's easy. Like, it was so good to have that clarity all of a sudden. And so I've been very blessed, because I've had a number of binary choices like that in my life that have really clarified for me the path forward.
And I wrote the book, A True Strength, out of that. I didn't want to write the book, but she made me write it.
You had to, yes.
Well, you know what it is. It's tough. You're playing a guy like Hercules. I was ripped up. My hair was as long as yours. And I all of a sudden,
we got to put a photo of that in here. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, I couldn't even stand up and walk barely. I had to learn to walk and balance again. It took me 4 years 4 months to have that kind of happen, but it took me 3 years to fully recover. Yeah. So it was a long road, and I wrote the book. She wrote some chapters.
It took him 2 years to believe that he would recover. Yeah. He didn't believe it. I was the one who kept saying, yep.
I got tough love.
It's coming.
I was always a very strong-willed person, but Sam, every time I went down, she said, Kevin, it happened. What are you going to do about it? And that was huge for me, because that just pushed me and motivated me.
Well, both, again, your stories separate together, very, very powerful. Then, you build this life together, you have this family. You talked a little bit, Sam, about, the decision that you had to make. Is it family, my husband to be
ice cream.
Or ice cream. Yeah. Okay. So so you should take her on ice cream dates as much as you can. Okay.
Trust me, she has a lot of ice cream.
Well, that's good. You should take care of your woman. All right. So then, Sam, now fast forward a little bit. Once you became a mom, you also had to kind of evaluate, really took a step back from the industry.
Yeah.
While Kevin kept going.
After he was recovered, I said, okay, I'm going to start acting again. And we had started a family, and we moved back to LA, and I said, okay, I'm going to go out on auditions. I called my old agent. She took me back, and I started auditioning. And then one day I came home, and we had a full-time nanny, and my daughter ran up to me. She was like a year and a half. She had one word.
Our third child. Yeah.
She had one word. No. I'm like, what is this? And I picked her up, I put her on my hip, and she goes, bye-bye to the nanny.
Oh.
And not in a way of see you tomorrow. It was like, bye-bye.
Yeah. Bye-bye now.
We're done.
Yeah.
Wow. So that was the cue.
And that was a cue. Yeah. And I just said, you gotta figure out what's most important. I had somebody who just emailed me, because, as you know, I mentor homeschoolers and people who are thinking about homeschooling, and I won't shut up about it. And so this gal, she just emailed me the other day, and she said, I'm working on my master's, So I'm in school and I've got these kids and I'm homeschooling and blah, blah, like all this stuff. And she said, do you have any advice for me? And I'm like, yeah, you're doing too much. Don't sacrifice the time that you get with your children to pursue something that you can do later. Like, what's so important that she get her master's right now when her children need her, want her, desire her? Like, they're tough choices. You cannot have it all. We are born and raised to believe you can have it all, Debbie. Anything you want, like the world's your, and it's true to a certain degree, but you must make choices.
Right.
Because
if there's different seasons and there's different places that all
otherwise you'll end up sacrificing the thing that you don't expect to sacrifice.
Yeah.
Right.
And that's the problem that we have with families today. Is the parents are waking up, and I have so many parents, and it breaks my heart. They reach out and they said, if only I'd heard you, 10 years ago, before my daughter went to middle school and I lost her in middle school, or before, this. And so that's my message to parents. Keep your kids, keep them.
Because you see what's going on in public schools right now. It's just worse and worse and worse. And COVID blew the lid off how bad, really bad. And parents finally woke up. And one of the blessings of COVID is 2 million more families are now homeschooling. And, I had friends back in Minnesota doing this, guys I went to high school with in the 80s. That was like almost unheard of back then. They were already doing it. And it's, she had talked to a couple of them before, but it really, what we saw in California was like, let's get the kids out of school. And she was the cheerleader.
And I'd love to say that I never looked back. I did. I tried again. I did. Oh yeah. I mean, I made a lot of mistakes on the way. God allowed me to put myself in situations that I had to learn from. And so that's why I'm so keen to impart this information to families. So we're going to talk about the movie, right?
Yes. Okay. I'm gearing up for the movie right now. When you're talking about
the
families
component to the movie.
Yes. Well, and by the way, everyone, if you are homeschooling or looking into homeschooling, please connect with Sam Sorbo. She is the ultimate inspiration on this topic. Can really say that. All right. So now
go to sorbostudios.com for that. sorbostudios.com.
Everything's at sorbostudios.com.
Yep.
All right. So let's talk about the film, because now that we've got to know you and love you, this recent movie is really a blast. I've watched half of it. I had to stop it. I ran out of time. Watched the trailer. Super cute, super funny, and yet very deep. How did this come about? Before we show the trailer, give me a little intro from both of you on why you chose to produce and star in this movie.
Well, I love true stories, just like Sam does. And this is a true story set in 1930. And it's about the largest oil find in the history of the world. And it was written by Dan Gordon. Dan Gordon is an Oscar-nominated writer. He wrote The Hurricane for Denzel Washington, or White Earp, Kevin Costner. He wrote 60 episodes of Highway to Heaven. Michael Landon series. He's an amazing writer. He's here with us now. We're doing a screening actually for Liberty University later today.
Oh, fun.
And it's gonna be pretty fun to do that. But I love directing. I started directing back my Hercules years, and we got an amazing cast with John Ratzenberger and Lou Gossett Jr. She's in it.
We wanted to do a comedy.
It's a comedy, yeah.
We knew
PG rated. PG.
It's PG, so it's family friendly. When was the last time you had a chance to take your family to the theater and not be concerned
not the woke stuff?
Something was going to come at you that was like deeply offensive or inappropriate or whatever. It seems like comedies have devolved now into the basest of humor and the vilest of humor in a sense. It's either potty humor or it's sex humor.
Right.
Right. And so that's not what this movie is. This is a family-friendly comedy. It tells the true story in a comedic way because it was really a comedy of errors, how this whole thing came about for real.
Well, these guys were con men. And they would go through Oklahoma and Texas.
They wanted to be oil men.
Yeah, well, the one guy more.
Very convincing.
Dad Everett more.
Yeah, and they were very convincing. And so they convinced these people to invest.
Widows. They would woo widows out of their money on fake oil wells.
Yeah, so, and we're not giving anything away, but I will say.
It is quite the story.
It is quite the story. And what's amazing is how the two men were redeemed because, and there's a theme in the movie of forgiveness, which is an important tenet of my faith. Redemption.
Hope.
It's something that we are losing in our culture today. We live in a culture of cancellation, which is the unforgiveness of people. You mess up once, you're gone, off with your head, right? So this movie is intended to breathe a little bit back into the culture of the foundations of our culture that we don't want to lose, right?
All right.
So
can I just show this trailer real quick so everybody can listen or watch? And then I want to come back. I've got a couple of follow-up questions.
Okay.
So this is Texas. Very flat.
I just believe the hand of Providence has been guiding our every step. We're going to hit oil right here on your plate.
Doc Boyd and Dad.
While they weren't much good at actually finding or drilling for oil, they both possessed an unusual facility for convincing people that they could do just that.
Oil! I've never felt it so strong in all my life.
Widows were the mother's milk of the petroleum hustle.
Love is not time's fool.
And now that they had a well, it was time to hit every widow they could find in a 3-county radius.
It's well. We can't bring it in. We've already sold close to 500%.
Yeah, so?
You can only have 100% of anything. I just wanted to be square with you because I care for you, man. Give you back the $1,000 I took.
That you swindled from other widows. I don't want you here. I want you out of my house.
We got to take what we got and get it as far away from Texas as we can get.
You want me to walk away from it?
We're crooks. We've conned all those old ladies.
Yeah, we con those old ladies because that's what we do. I'm an oil man.
Praise Jesus in all his glory.
Lotharios. He's talking about you. True hand-to-God miracle is what it is.
That's the gospel truth.
Leave the rest up to Jesus! God's own bounty.
Oil.
Black gold.
Amen. Amen.
Well, we can understand now why this movie is going to be so entertaining. I mean, I'm kind of like laughing and crying all at the same time. I do want to ask you this really quick, though. Is it mostly true, or you say a tall tale inspired by an absolutely true story? How much is tale true? What's true of it?
You know what? And it's hard to say because there's so much lore that has collected around these two men.
Okay.
There is a town named after Dad Joyner, who is one of the individuals that's depicted to a certain degree in the movie, right? He's one of the real guys. They did strike oil. This is the greatest oil strike in the history of America, at least.
At that time, right in the heart of the Depression.
And I'll tell you this. So I was talking with Louis Gohmert, who's a representative from the great state of Texas. And he said to me, well, Sam, the only thing I know about those two men is their oil rig was such a jalopy and it broke down and they didn't have the funds to fix it. So they just drilled where it broke down. And I said, oh my gosh, that scene's in my movie.
It's in the movie.
So Dan did all the research and he put everything in the movie, and he wrote a really brilliant screenplay. And fast forward about a decade after this oil strike in 1930, we enter World War II. The United States enters the war, and within a month, they had sent 73 oil tankers from East Texas headed for the Allied theater in the war theater
Out of the Gulf of Mexico.
Right? Through the Gulf of Mexico. The Germans had U-boats in the Gulf of Mexico, and they torpedoed 72 of those 73 tankers. So we built a pipeline from Texas to the East Coast called the Big Inch.
Up to Rhode Island,
And
I believe.
Winston Churchill, because our tanks didn't run out of gas before the German tanks ran out of gas. The Nazi tanks ran out of gas. That's partly what ended the war. They had no more resources, but not us, because we had the East Texas oil. And Winston Churchill is known to have said that the Allies floated to victory on a sea of East Texas oil.
What a story.
Cool.
So the
Pretty
whole
cool.
story about how God redeems even the most questionable of individuals, right?
Right, like a snake oil salesman. How is that to play? I mean,
most of the main points in the movie are true. Obviously, Dan wrote in a lot of humor stuff as well. It's like if you look at Butch Cassidy and Sundance Kid, these were not good guys. And yet when they do the movie with Paul Newman and Robert Redford, two good-looking guys that are quippy and funny. I don't think really those two guys in real life are quite that quippy and funny.
Right.
But It's a wonderful, wonderful family movie, and people will absolutely love it. I just showed it to a group of 400 oil guys in Oklahoma, and they love it.
Oh, I bet they really enjoyed that.
Well, it is the foundation of the Hunt Oil Company.
Yeah.
So it's really just an incredible story. And there's a homeschool component.
Yes, there is.
We have this curriculum.
This is so important. And when you go on your website, Sam or Sorbo Studios,
Yes.
you can see all these complimentary materials.
Yes, and they're free. And so if you're a family that likes to homeschool, this is for you. It's easy. It's not anything too hard.
Yeah.
But if you've never considered homeschool, I encourage you, download the free resource for homeschooling and work through it with your family. It's like a discussion guide. And what I'm hoping that people will take away from this is that home education is not nearly as difficult as the schools want you to believe it is. They want you to believe that education is hard because that's their job security. But you don't have to be enslaved to the schools. You can keep your children home and teach them yourselves because parents have a lot to offer their kids.
And you'll get a chance to talk about probably a lot of these themes, right? A lot of these attributes. Yes.
So
like you
economy, oil, forgiveness, entrepreneurship, like the whole gamut, the Depression era United States, what that was like a little bit. So it's a little bit of everything. And there's some reading resources at the end. I just download it. It's free. Download it.
Well, it educates people on what oil uses are. I think a lot of people are really ignorant, uneducated what oil does for them.
Yeah.
So all those people want to get rid of oil because, gas, let's get rid of electric cars. Then get rid of your iPhone, get rid of the computer on right now. You lose your hairbrush, lose your toothbrush. Let's list all the things.
Take your pants off.
That really... there's oil in clothes. So
right. I mean, both of you have been very outspoken in Hollywood about the woke culture, and you're still prevailing, and God's blessing and opening up great opportunities for you. I mean, thanks for being a good voice, a voice of reason, common sense. Thank you.
Thank you. You too.
All right, let's talk about now. This is going to be out for just a couple of days. How do we see it?
So
how do we bring our family?
Is all the information that you need for the tickets. We are offering pay it forward tickets if you want to buy tickets for somebody else. That's something that we've made available on the website. It is only 2 days as of now. If we do sell well, then it'll stay in theaters, but don't count on that and get your tickets now.
This is the setup what you have in independent movies. There's so many good independent movies out there, not only ones that we do through Sorbo Studios, but you do not have that $100 million advertising budget like these big blockbuster movies that they do for Pirates of the Caribbean and, Galaxy Quest or whatever they're called. I mean, they have the big money to get it out there. We need word of mouth. I did a movie called God's Not Dead, which was an anomaly. $2 million movie made $140 million bucks. And that was all word of mouth that propelled that. I've done movies that I think are better than that movie. It's a good movie, but I've done ones that are better. And this is one of them. So we need people to support these things. If we sell out these seats, we will get more days and more screenings.
And more people get the opportunity to see the movie.
And again, that's the 29th and the 30th of October.
Of October.
Right. So Moms for America, we have already done one email blast. We are going to be reposting this. Moms, we need you to bring your families, share this. Again, getting behind excellent entertainment that is safe for our family.
One thing that you can do, you go online and you can order your tickets online because you got to look up the theater, you order your tickets. Then you screen grab that.
You put the zip code in, shows you what theater's near you.
Right. You screenshot that and you send it to all your friends. And then they have the opportunity to just join you at the theater. There's no real planning that has to take place. It's just, I'm going to this screening, join me. Yep. And I've sold out a couple theaters like that for previous films. So it's sort of the new way of doing it. I like it.
What else from Sorbo Studios can we look for in the future?
I've got a couple documentaries coming out. I have the #1 documentary on Amazon 2 years ago called Before the Wrath. It deals with the second coming. The follow-up's going to come out Easter time. Same company, Ingenuity Films, Brent Miller's company. They're awesome. I narrate the whole thing. And this one deals with the Last Supper, and it's called Eating with the Enemy. And I was in Israel twice last year. Actually, Sam came with me for both those trips, obviously. But one trip we spent over there about 17 days through archaeological digs. We traced the Ark of the Covenant, the flow of the Ark of the Covenant, where it went. So I was Indiana Jones. And
in real life.
And so that's called The Quest for the Throne. And that's coming out next year as well. I love doing documentaries. I've been doing, that's probably about 7 or 8 now I've done. And just finished one. I just finished shooting a 10-part miniseries documentary on the life of Jesus on the set of The Chosen out there in Provo, Utah. I just got back from filming that.
Wow. Wow. Well, busy. So we're all going to go ahead and see this movie. We're going to download the information. We're going to go to the website, and we're going to take advantage of some excellent family entertainment where you're going to laugh, you're going to cry, and
you're going to be uplifted.
Yes.
You're going to leave the theater feeling better about,
and you'll talk about it. It's not just a roller coaster ride. It's a movie with real dialogue and real characters.
Well, you've got to see it. I mean, Sam, your character is beautiful and lovely, and she's got to deal with forgiving this, guy over here. And then Kevin, you were hysterical. I mean, the movie is just
John Ratzenberger is he's great. And Lou Gossett Jr. is in it. Tyler Mane.
Oh, you know what? Tell people you got to stay through the credits because there are outtakes.
The outtakes are very funny.
Hilarious. Also, John Ratzenberger is just hilarious. Yeah. He's just a very funny guy.
13 years on Cheers. He's a lot of practice.
Yeah. Well, again, this is October 29th and 30th. Yep. Miracle in East Texas. And this is going to be just awesome. So Sorbos, God bless you guys, and keep fighting the fight.
Thank you. You too, Debbie.
All right. Thank you.
Bye.
Well, you can see why we absolutely love this couple. Sam and Kevin are just amazing. I do want to encourage everyone to go ahead and go to sorbostudios.com and get your tickets to see Miracle in East Texas. I think you're going to absolutely love the film. Bring your entire family. We need more faith-based films like this that we can support. So let's take advantage of this and support them. All right, moms, I do want to also remind you that we make a difference every day at Moms for America, and I would love to encourage you to just become a part of our family. Go to momsforamerica.us, sign up for our newsletter. That's how we communicate with you every week, help you engage with other moms, help provide our resources. We also always like to highlight our signature program, which is called the Cottage Meetings. Moms absolutely love these meetings, these lessons. They're so informative. They're 12 lessons that will inspire and educate you about America's amazing heritage, so you can share those principles of liberty in your home and in your community. This is where it all begins, in your home. Exactly what Sam and Kevin were talking about today, the power of the home, the family. So this program, along with everything else on our website, will help you impact your family in a very powerful way, from parental rights to public policy, from the kitchen table to Congress. Moms for America truly does have it all. I always say this in closing, moms, because I want to encourage you every week that you are the heartbeat of your home. Liberty begins right in your nest, right with your tribe. And that is why being a mom is so powerful and so important. We just want to be here to help support you. I do want to ask you to join us next week again for another inspiring and informative discussion with moms just like you. Again, like and share. Tell everybody about this movie. Fill the theaters across America. And I hope to see you next week again. And as always, let's keep changing our world one home at a time, moms. Talk with you soon.